Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. So, it happened again, therefore I am just pretty much obligated at this point to make a video. We have an ongoing series on this channel titled Democrats Can't Go Anywhere These Days, and that segment spawned, well, mostly because it's true. We just keep seeing instances of Democrats getting booed into oblivion during public events, heckled on the streets, protested in their own neighborhoods, or during their own community or district town halls. It's become a trend of sorts, and Nancy Pelosi, of course, is a familiar face. She's constantly getting heckled, protested, booed, embarrassed, the list goes on, and this time, totally pranked. And so I gotta show you that clip. Firstly, because it's viral and funny, and secondly, because we might as well make this an excuse to expose Nancy Pelosi for the out-of-touch elitist that she truly is, and even the prank itself kind of pointed to that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so the intro pretty much covers it. Alex Stringer posts this on X. He writes, assaulted by Speaker Pelosi's security detail when all I wanted was stock advice. Take a look at this.
Hi, how are you? My name is Noah. I used to be a pronouns. Listen, I wasn't able to get a book that was sold out, but I want to say how much I appreciate your fierce, staunch defending of democracy. It really means so much, honestly, I'm really scared about, Donald Trump winning the election, and honestly, with all the disinformation on X, I honestly, the only chance, that we have is for Donald Trump to actually spend the rest of his life in prison. That's the only hope for democracy.
Win the election.
We do. Well, Nancy, listen. Last question. What stocks should I buy? Nancy, you're the greatest options trader of all time. I just want to know what stocks I should buy. But I just want to know, income inequality is their biggest concern.
Already?
The police are implementing an institution of white supremacy and racism. I don't understand why they are even here at all. They should be defunded. I just want to know, she makes 6 figures a year in Congress and has $100 million net worth. Don't y'all want to know what stocks she should buy? Come on.
No way.
I just want to know. I just want to know what stocks to buy.
Yeah.
I want to close the wealth gap. What's the problem?
No way.
I just want to close the wealth gap. Nancy Pelosi, keep the greatest options trader of all time.
You gotta love it. I guess we could dub this the Alex Stein era. We got a bunch of professional provocateurs. The left wing likes to ridicule them, point their finger and say how ridiculous, oh look how stupid Republicans are. But honestly, I think they're doing a great thing. They're using comedy to expose the truth. It may just be a stupid prank video meant to farm engagement, views, likes online. But even if that was the intention, it still has a far greater impact. Here we have just a regular guy, really, in a way, standing up to power. Nancy Pelosi is one of the most powerful individuals, and of course she's doing what typical high-powered Democrat politicians do. She surrounds herself with a bunch of phony people in these little orchestrated public events, totally surrounded by security, creating this mystical facade while never actually addressing any of the accusations of corruption that many Americans have concerns with. It's a stupid little video, but it highlights an important point. Nancy Pelosi, who often portrays herself, and left-wing partisans obviously portray her as, a champion of the little guy and a stalwart defender of democracy, well, that image is in quite sharp contrast with the reality of her actions during her career. She's lauded as a progressive leader who stands up for the average American, but the truth reveals that she's a shadowy figure deeply entrenched in the corporate elite. When people talk about those secret shadowy puppet masters who are part of those powerful inner circles, yeah, that's Nancy Pelosi. No one can explain it, but somehow Nancy Pelosi's the greatest stock investor the world's ever seen. Somehow, miraculously, picking the perfect stocks time and time again, right ahead of crucial government announcements that affect the industries that she's investing in. She's one of the most powerful figures in Congress, who also happens to be one of the world's most successful stock traders. I wonder how that works. Of course, they want you to believe that 2 + 2 is equal to 5, but as we know, 2 + 2 always equals 4. The equation here is also an obvious one. Ding, ding, ding. Obviously, there's some insider trading, or at the very least, highly unethical use of privileged information. In other words, insider trading. Yet despite calls from various corners, even on her own side, including people within her own party.
While money in politics continues to be a massive corrupting force among our lawmakers, equally egregious behavior includes trading individual stocks, even when these members of Congress have access to insider information. Now, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was asked about this behavior and she didn't like it. Nancy Pelosi has done very well in the stock market, and so has her husband. And it doesn't surprise me at all that she would use this pathetic excuse of free market to essentially provide cover for what these members of Congress are doing. But make no mistake about it, this is insider trading. They have insider information, and their stock portfolios tend to outperform the overall stock market. Gee, I wonder why. Is it because they're these incredibly intelligent investors, or could it be that they have information that others don't? Cenk.
Well, most mainstream media reporters would say it's an outrageous implication you have there, Anna. Obviously, they're brilliant. I mean, Pelosi is such a master legislator. She's probably also coincidentally a master stock picker, right?
There's massive YouTube videos from big left-wing content creators essentially accusing Nancy Pelosi of insider trading, but for some reason it all just always gets swept under the rug. And it's crazy to think about it, the brazen nature of it all, the way left-wing politicians and honestly even right-wing politicians seem to just get away with all this stuff with impunity. And then those who challenge the powerful, those who make these videos, this shock content, to expose the people to the truth, they're called the crazies. This guy's just a comedian. I think it goes well beyond that. I think right here, this is the core concept of freedom of speech. It's frankly one of the major points of the Constitution, to speak truth to power, to be able to expose hard truths about powerful people freely, to openly dissent, criticize, mock, ridicule, and expose, to force these politicians, these people who pretend to represent you, to have to answer to the people. I mean, the way I view it, it's almost like a showcase of how far the country has moved away from its initial ideals, where politicians stand in these totally phony, manufactured photo op situations, while their security rough handles and essentially assaults any dissenter, or any protester or prankster. Wannabe petty tyrants standing behind their muscle. It's the same old thing throughout the history of humanity on repeat. Over and over again. Well, dissent, I say. Continue with this stuff because it may be silly content, but hopefully it wakes people up. Nancy Pelosi pretends to care about democracy as she's pulling the strings in the most undemocratic fashion behind the scenes, like what she just recently did, partnering up with other elite Democrats, forcing Joe Biden out of the election. She presents herself as a stalwart protecting democracy. Give me a friggin' break. And don't even get me started on the whole January 6th thing. Just the odd coincidence that Nancy Pelosi was filming on the day of, magnetic door locks were opening and people were letting rioters into the building, the fact that the National Guard was refused and no security perimeter was ever established, even though she was in charge of Capitol security through her sergeant-at-arms. Don't even get me started on any of that. Nancy Pelosi is a defender of democracy and the truth. She's a fighter for the little guy. Give me a freaking break. Hopefully, people are starting to see through the obvious mask. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.